Everybody should be looking at the test. Oh, 3 people to come in. Hold on. I got to let 3 people in here.
Jim, are you recording this?
Yeah, I am.
No,
Yeah.
John is.
Okay.
So because I'm sharing my screen, if you ask a question or whatever, which is fine. If I don't know your voice, I may ask who you are. That's all. All right, let's see. There's that. All right, so let's start with question number 1. And if we have a question on it, I do have the rule references, so we can look at those if we need to look it up or whatever to be sure. If anybody has any questions as we go through, please ask. So the first question is, a team has only 8 players at the field. And the correct answer is, the game cannot begin until the team has at least 9 players. So if it's a high school game, that's definitely the case. They have to have 9 players there. I'll give you a little bit of leeway on this. You can do what you want to make a game happen. If it's a summer game, then if they want to give a jersey to a kid on the other team and make them temporarily on the team that's short players, they can do that. You just don't need to know about it. But they can do that. High school game, no, you can't do that. So high school game, they have to have 9 players to start. Any questions? Okay, number 2.
Let's go over the summer stuff while we're doing it.
Go over what, Ryan?
Let's go over the summer stuff while we're talking about it.
Okay.
So the summer stuff, everything we're doing for the test is high school related, but you're going to have summer games. All of the leagues, with the exception of MCBR, will allow teams to start with 8 players. MCBR will require a 9-player game. All right. If you drop below the line during the course of the game, because at all of the leagues with the exceptions of MCBR, if it's an injury, ejection, you go to 8 players, you can play. If you drop below 8, the game's terminated. MCBR, for any reason at all, you cannot drop below 9, even if it's an injury. There's no out, no taken out. Those other leagues, if there's an out, you can take the, or there's a drop below 9, you can take the out.
And in those other leagues, if there's an injury and a kid's in a lineup, you're going to get the out, and then you basically compress the lineup for batting purposes. But where he was, he's going to be an out. You good with that, Ryan?
Yes.
Okay. Anything else on question number 1? Okay. Question number 2. A pop fly hits a bat, which is lying in foul territory, and then touches fair ground. So the correct answer is, it is a foul ball, and the ball's immediately dead. Okay.
Why don't you go through the scenarios in that situation of when it would be live versus dead?
Okay, so if a ball rolls into a bat lying in fair territory, and so you have to determine, did the ball roll into the bat or did the bat hit the ball to judge intent? So if the ball rolls into the bat, it's already laying on the ground, then you don't have any intent. It's going to be play on, and the ball is going to remain live if that bat is in fair territory. If you want to try to judge intent, I mean, I don't think any of these kids are crafty enough to intentionally hit the ball with their bat. So I don't think that's ever going to happen. But if it does, then that player would be out. You would have a dead ball. Okay. Let's see. Number 3. As the second baseman settles to catch a high pop fly, the runner makes contact with him. Correct answer is the ball is dead and the runner is declared out. So that means other runners can't advance because you killed the ball. So if they do advance, you got to bring them back to the bases they started at. And that's something you'll have to sort out after the play is over. What's
the situations where a fielder can make contact with a runner, and I don't have this?
Where a fielder can make contact with a runner?
Yeah, does that exist?
I mean, it would exist if he's in the process of playing, trying to make a catch or trying to play the ball. Is that what you're talking about, Ryan?
Yep. I want to have us process a little bit some of the scenarios. These questions are designed to, while ask you a question about the topic that's there, they are to spark you to ask us questions about other scenarios regarding this topic. So let's process to yourself now. Is there a question or a situation that relates directly to this topic that makes you ponder or have some thought about what to do? We'd like to hear those so we can help comment.
Jimmy, I got one.
Sure.
So runner comes in contact with the first baseman, runner on first. It's a pop fly in the infield to the first baseman. The first baseman is able still to catch the ball in that scenario. So I guess my question to you is that an immediate dead ball?
Yes. So as soon as the interference happens, you need to say, that's interference, and you point at the runner and say he's out.
And put 2 hands up.
Yeah. Like we've talked about before, putting your 2 hands up and saying time, that gives you not to be I don't know what the right word is, but it gives you time by saying time to give you a minute to judge what happened in your head and relegate a proper decision. Okay. So time, you point, that's interference, and runner's out.
Okay, now you're saying the runner that's at first base that is going to second is out. What about the guy that hit the fly ball? Is he out too?
No, he's going to get first base.
Okay.
Fielder's choice.
Okay.
Good question, though, Mr. Don Rock.
Had to ask.
That's the kind of stuff we're looking for.
I got another
question.
What about an infield fly situation? Runners on second, and the runner's holding on second because he doesn't want to get doubled off. And does he have to vacate the base so that catcher can make the play, or what's the situation there?
So that's an interesting rule on that. And I'm gonna need some help on this to try to remember it, because that's one of the few.
The runner on an infield fly is protected to occupy their base.
I was getting there, Ryan. I was getting there.
Yeah. The easy form of that is you are going to make the judgment if you believe that the action of the runner was unnecessarily hindering the fielder. So the simple version being is if I've got 2 feet on the base, I'm protected. If you've got 1 foot on the base and 1 foot off the base, what is my requirements now as the offensive player? I got to make sure that my 1 foot off the base theoretically is not hindering the action of the defense.
That's in an infield fly situation.
Only.
in a situation where we do not have the infield fly rule in effect, that runner does have to vacate his position on the bag to allow the defense to catch the ball. As strange as that seems, and as odd as that seems, he is not entitled to stand on the bag and be protected in a situation in which the infield fly is not in effect.
So is it, does the second baseman that's going for the ball does he, if he's running over it, he doesn't have to run around the guy that's standing at second base to get the ball? He can, if he runs into him, then the kid that second's going to be out?
Well, I mean, like any play, you're going to have to use good judgment.
Yeah.
And if he has to make the play at second base, I think that's what we're talking about here. Not him running to a different position to catch the baseball. That would be my judgment on the play. And I think that's the process you need to look at. If he needs to settle under or near second base to make that catch, trust me, the kids are gonna stay on the bag. They're not gonna leave the bag, and they're gonna potentially cause interference because they think they're protected by standing on the bag. So I guess your question, Don, would be no, he can't plow through the kid on second base to get to the other side of the bag to catch the base. In my judgment.
Hey, Jim, this is Mike. Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, this is a really true play, but the second baseman has to catch the ball right over second base, which causes the kid on second base to come off. He catches it. You can't get a double play out of that.
You say you can't?
Can you?
Why can't you?
Because he was forced off the base because he had to leave so the second baseman could catch it.
Right? He's not protected though, Mike. So yeah, you could double up.
I heard that, but I'm thinking, God damn, if you get pushed off it because he's straddling second base, there's no place to go, but you're out.
Right. I mean,
let's put it this way. There's ways that the offensive player can still engage the base and not be in the way of the defensive player.
So he can lay down on the ground and put his hand on the bag?
You got it.
That's what I was wondering. Yeah, that's the only way you do it, or just lay down and put your foot out.
That's why you're getting that question you're asking is you're getting paid to, that's one of the game, situations you get paid to make a decision on. Is do you believe that the action of the offense hindered the action of the defense? And truthfully, they can move. There's no scenario that they can't still touch the base and be out of the way of the defense. It's not possible that one has to occur over the other.
Okay, has anybody ever had that scenario?
No, and I don't want to.
Basically, the base is not a sanctuary.
Correct.
Only one time the base is a sanctuary, when it's an infield fly situation.
I mean, I want to revert back to my previous thinking, and that is, wow, someone's got a lot of feedback there. Guys, mute your mics. Thank you. My previous statement, I don't believe any of our high school baseball players are going to vacate the bag. They're going to stand on it with both feet. So I don't think they're going to be, crafty enough to lay down, touch it with one hand. That could work. But I think we're going to have to be prepared to judge the interference on that situation, because I think that's what you're going to have. And then prepare for the shit show, because coach isn't going to know what's going on. So you're going to have a good explanation and using rule book terminology to explain to him what you called and why you called.
Jim, can you hear me?
Yep.
I think what's more likely to occur is that the player will vacate the base on the pop fly and then realize that he can't advance, and he'll come back to the base at about the same time. That's where the two might be right there at the meeting as he's returning to the base. Just a thought. Thank you.
Yeah, it could happen.
Are there any scenarios where a delayed dead ball can occur when there's interference, or is interference always a dead ball? Everybody take 5 seconds to give yourself a thought and see if anybody can provide us with an example for that question.
Obstruction or interference?
Interference.
I would say it would be delayed if there was a chance for double play.
So Dave Light, let's hear that. So Dave Light's got, if there's an interference and you can get a double play, let the play go on. Anybody else?
Yeah, I agree with that. That was kind of the scenario I was talking about, where the first baseman is sort of hindered, but he could get a double play and get the out at second as well.
And what answer did Jimmy give you, Mark?
So it was immediate dead ball.
So what would you say about Dave Light's suggestion?
I think it's a good one.
I agree too. What would you say the rule says, though?
I think the rule book's pretty clear that it's an immediate dead ball. I think it's even in the dead ball section,
correct,
right?
You are correct. I love everybody's thought, because as an umpire, what do I want? I want 2 outs. But as much as we love that thought, and that sounds really good, the rule book specifically says if there is an interference call, it's an immediate dead ball. With one exception, and it's not the double play chance. There is one interference call that is a delayed dead ball.
Catcher's interference?
That is correct. Catcher's interference. So in the catcher's interference scenario, the rule states that if they were to, let's say it's the typical stealing second, the catcher throws down cleanly still, even though he got interfered with, and they throw the guy out, the interference is ignored. If the interference, if it was the batter runner hit the ball and the batter runner got to first base, the interference is ignored. But if the batter runner got thrown out at first base, or a runner going from first to second who was in a forced situation got out, then we would kill the play. Then we would give the offense the choice to take the result of the play, or they have to take the dead ball scenario and move one base. Now, why would somebody take the result of the play? There could be a scenario with bases loaded, right? Let's say there's no outs. Let's make it, and let's make it the bottom of the 7th in the tie game. And there's catcher's interference, and they throw the guy out at first base. Well, you could say, I'll waive the interference. I'll take the out at first because the run from third scored. Right? We're not coaching strategists. So whatever they choose to have, it is your responsibility in a catcher's interference, if the interference is still active, to provide them with the option. I know that sounds weird, but people will make some weird decisions, whether or not they're going to let their best hitter get up, or they want him to bat again, or they'll move a guy over to third base, whatever the case may be. But that is the only example of a delayed dead ball when interference is called. Now, flip that to, go ahead.
No, I just want to clarify something, then I have another situation. But so you're saying you're using the terminology catcher's interference. Jim, hold on a minute.
Isn't that batter's interference?
Hold on a minute. Yes, it's not. Thank you. So hold on a minute, guys.
It's not catcher's interference.
I think the situation we're talking about is going to be batter's interference, Ryan, correct? That's what you mean?
No, catcher's interference is a delayed dead ball.
Well, so is batter's interference, though.
Sure.
So, but
I was just talking about catcher.
I don't see any catcher's interference in the rule book, I don't think. I see batter's interference. I see catcher obstruction.
It's actually termed, I know what you're talking about now, Ryan. It's actually termed, catcher's obstruction is actually termed interference, Dave. So that's, I came in and out. I apologize. So, you were talking about the bat hits the catcher's glove. That's the situation
No.
you were talking about, correct,
No,
Ryan?
I was talking about the batter swings the bat and hits the catcher throwing the ball down to second on the backswing.
Yes,
That's batter interference.
but Ryan was.
That's not.
Ryan was.
That's not. That's batter interference.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay.
If you look in the rule book, you try to find catcher's interference, you won't find it.
All right, Dave, we're going to move on. Thank David. David, we're going to move on. Next topic.
Thank you.
Ryan, Mike Shefflin here. I got a question on that. Just to clarify, I got no outs, man on third, batter swings, hits the catcher's glove.
Right.
Ball hit to the second baseman. They throw him out at first, run scores.
Right.
They can take that run and let the play stand.
Correct.
Or they can say, my batter's going to first, man on third stays.
Correct.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, so let's move on to the next question, guys. Pitching from the windup position. The pitcher pauses for a couple of seconds with both hands together above his head. So the correct answer is this is illegal. After he starts his movement to pitch, he must continue the motion without interruption or alteration. So let me ask you this situation. If he's pitching from the stretch and he has runners on and he comes set and then he starts to deliver his pitch with a high leg lift, and just as he reaches like the top, his apex of his leg lift, he pauses for a split second and then he delivers the pitch. Does anybody have anything on that with runners on base?
If that was his normal routine, wouldn't that? If that was his normal routine, wouldn't that be just a normal routine and not a balk?
Okay, so we have normal routine, not a balk. Anybody else got anything else?
I think the book's pretty clear that it says once he begins his pitching motion, he must continue the motion. You can't come to a stop at any point. You got to deliver.
Matt? Is that Matt? Matt, you're absolutely correct. That's going to be a balk, because that in that movement alone, he becomes deceptive when he pauses. So that's the correct answer. Once he starts his movement to pitch, he's got to continue to the plate. Okay. Or he can throw over. He can also do that. But he has to make one continuous motion. Okay. Any other questions on that? I mean, that's pretty.
Is that an illegal pitch from the windup, Jim?
It would be an illegal pitch. And I would have to look up the penalty, but I'm assuming the penalty would be a ball. But I would have to look up the penalty on that for sure from the windup.
So if he was standing on the mound like he was going to throw from the windup position, and he was going to throw, and because there was bases loaded, and he'd have to step off the back of the mound to throw to the base. He can't just be on the rubber, because he would be starting his motion.
Really, that's a different question. But yes, I mean, from the windup,
yeah,
he can do two things. A, he can deliver the pitch. B, he can step up. That's all he can do from the windup.
Yeah. Okay. Well, because you said he could throw over, and I got confused.
No, I was talking about when he was from the set with the strap.
Yeah.
Jimmy, that's got to be a ball on the batter.
I would think, but like I said, I'm not going to, without looking at the penalty, I think it probably would be, but I would have to look at, the penalties to be positive. In a game, I'm going to give him a ball and then worry about it later, probably. It probably is a ball, Mark. You're right. I just don't want to misquote a rule if I'm not 100% positive.
Sam says it's a ball.
Okay. I trust Sam. All right, so next one, guys. A pitch dropped during delivery and which crosses a foul line shall be called. Correct answer is a ball. So let me ask you, I got two other situations I want to ask you. And the first one is, if a pitch is dropped during delivery and it does not cross the foul line and there are no runners on, what is it?
Nothing.
Anybody else?
To do
Nothing would be correct. If a pitch is dropped during delivery with runners on and it does not cross the foul line, what is it?
Balk.
Balk.
Correct. So those are really the situations you're going to have with a drop ball.
Jim, what foul line are you talking about? By the catcher's box, or I don't? This is Kyle. I'm sorry. I'm having a hard time understanding when you drop the pitch during a delivery, like over the foul line. How would that happen?
It could roll over. Most commonly, it rolls over if it's going to roll over a foul line, it'd be the foul line between home plate and first base.
So are you saying after the pitcher throws the ball and it crosses the plate and then the catcher drops?
No. As he's delivering the pitch, he drops it, and he kind of like drops it in front of him, and he mispitches. Something happens, his footing isn't right or whatever, and it starts rolling.
Okay, thank you. Yep.
So that's the situation where it's going to roll across the foul line. Did that make it clear? Did that make it clear?
Yes, it did. Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. Somebody else have something? Okay, we'll go on to the next question. An illegal slide occurs when correct answer is the runner goes beyond the base and alters the play of the fielder. So the key words to this answer are beyond the base, and he alters the play of the fielder. So if he goes beyond the base and the fielder is to one side of the base or the other, and he doesn't make contact with him, is it an illegal slide?
No.
He has to alter the play. He has to make contact with the player for it to be a violation. Okay.
What happens if he makes contact with the fielder who's on the bag?
He made contact.
Didn't go through the bag?
No.
Nothing.
Nothing, then.
Incidental contact.
Unless his foot's up in the air.
Yeah.
We have a legal slide, right? If they're going and they go into the bag and they make contact.
Nothing.
So just want to clarify, contact does not equal illegal. But you can't do like you see on TV. If the guy's on the right side of the bag, you can't slide to the right side of the bag. You must slide away or through the bag.
I wonder if we could, yeah, sorry, Jimmy. I just wanted to say,
go ahead.
Oh, this is Matt, brought into my mind the whole idea of the legal slide, the leg and the buttock have to be down. Something that I do see, from time to time is an attempted slide, but they never get the rear end down on the ground, and then there's contact. And I see that one from time to time, and that's one that I have to keep in mind as far as legal versus illegal, because that would be an illegal slide. Sometimes you don't know what to think. It happens so quick, and you're thinking to yourself, what did I just see?
Right.
If the butt doesn't get down, it can't be a legal slide, I guess, right?
There's two elements for the legal slide. The first one is the butt has to be touching the ground, or the chest has to be touching the ground.
You're fine. Do it. So,
okay, somebody slid head first.
Make it.
So it's chest or butt. You could not slide into a bag on your, like a goofy slide on your knees, sliding on my knees into the bag. That's not legal. So it's got to be your chest or your butt must be in contact with the ground to be legal.
Where that's probably going to happen is where they wait till they're really late deciding to slide, and they don't quite get down on their butt, and they hit the bag and kind of pop up. That's a problem sometimes.
I'm thinking more of the plays at home, where the kid doesn't realize he has to get down until all of a sudden he sees the ball's there, and then he collides with the catcher. I think we've even seen some films on that, either in one of the classes or maybe on the test. I forget now where it was.
So, Matt, I'm actually glad you brought up the slide at home plate. So, is there any different? Is there an exception or anything with sliding through home plate, or is it the same as for second and third?
Home plate's the only plate that they can slide past the bag and be considered legal.
Correct. All right, let's look at the next question. That is about obstruction. Which of the following statements on obstruction are correct? The ball is a delayed dead ball. Obstruction is declared when a fielder without the ball simulates a tag on a runner. Obstruction occurs when a fielder without possession of the baseball denies access to the base the runner is attempting to achieve. And the correct answer is all of the above. So let's talk about the fake tag situation first. That's something you're definitely going to run into that they do. You just have to be vigilant and make sure you're watching the player to do that. Okay. And then the next thing we can talk about is the fielder without possession of the ball, denying access to the base. So if a catcher is set up, this is a situation that happens often. Catcher is set up third baseline, waiting for the throw to come in. And it's that split second thing that you have to judge whether he had the baseball that was coming to him at the time the runner slid. So that's why you have to have good judgment on judging obstruction. And the easiest part of this rule to remember is if the defensive player did not have the baseball, then you have obstruction. So unless he was camped out there in the line with the baseball, he's obstructing the runner's base path.
So, Jim, what is the correct call? I know you got obstruction. You got the fake tag at third, and the ball's coming into second base. Third baseman puts his glove down and causes the slide. What you got obstruction? What's the correct call for that? What do you do?
Go home.
You're gonna give him home.
Well, yeah, obstruction is the award is minimum of one base beyond the base the runner has achieved.
Yeah.
Okay. And can anybody else tell me the other part? And I don't want to tell you all the answers. So the other part of the award for obstruction can also be what? Somebody help me out here.
If it's malicious.
Cause of the play.
I'm sorry. I heard two different. I heard somebody say malicious. I think that was Mike.
Yeah.
Malicious contact supersedes obstruction. You got that.
Right. So we're not talking about malicious contact. Okay. We're talking about obstruction and what the base award could be for it.
If in the umpire's judgment that it caused him, if the umpire deems that obstruction cost him a chance at advancing past the award, an example, sliding into third, he's got third, but in the umpire's judgment, that obstruction cost him a chance at going home, he can award him home.
Very good. Umpire judgment, right? So you can also award per umpire judgment on obstruction. But remember, it's a minimum of one base beyond. So think about this situation too with obstruction. So if I have a runner at first base and I have a pitcher throw a pickoff move to first base. Kind of picture this, okay? And as he throws the pickoff move, the first baseman puts his knee down, so the runner can't get back to first base. But he was trying to, but umpire, he was trying to get back to first base. So doesn't he just get the base he was trying to go back to? Is that correct? Or does he get second base?
He gets second base.
Okay. Who is that answered?
Norm,
you're the grand prize winner for that today. Yeah. So, and some coaches are gonna argue that on that situation, you're gonna have to be strong on it, because the situation with the pickoff move with the runner going back to first, they're gonna want to say he just gets first base, but that's incorrect.
Yeah.
Okay.
The problem with that is if you just gave him first base, there's no penalty, and they would do it every time.
Well, he could say the penalty is he's not out, right?
Right.
Because we're figuring in that play, because he obstructed, he also tagged him out.
Oh yeah, I get you.
So that's what they're thinking.
So the penalty
is he
not getting out.
Not out.
But it's illegal anyway, so.
Right.
I think you got to give him an award.
Yeah, and so that's that one you got to watch for me, because there's a crafty first baseman out there that'll do that. Any other input on this obstruction?
Yeah. Hey, Jim, it's Matt again. I did see a play once where they tried to pick a runner off first, and the throw was a little wide, which caused the runner got back to first, but as the first baseman was trying to catch the ball, he continued his momentum and actually knocked the runner off the base and then tagged him. Well, so I awarded him second base because he could have stopped himself before he made contact with the base runner. Was that correct?
I mean, I would have to see the play, but I think so. I mean, it's your judgment on it. You definitely can't reward the defense for a bad play. The bad throw being the bad play. So I would agree with that.
So pushing someone off a base is considered obstruction?
Well, I would think so, yeah. Absolutely. Depending on how hard the push was. I mean, not get into malicious contact, but if he's shoving him off the base. Yeah.
But you see it on a tag all the time. They tag him and push him off the base. So you're going to give him an extra base and call it obstruction?
I guess I'm not picturing what you're talking about.
So someone's standing on second base. Well, they come in and they're sliding into second base, whatever pop up, they tag him and they push him off the base. You see it all the time.
Okay.
I think 91.
So if he gets pushed off the base, that's obstruction.
I mean, I guess I would have to see it to see exactly what you're talking about. But you can't pop up slide. I mean, and a pop up slide is illegal as far as interference rules go. If we had a secondary play going on there, so that's something you would have to think about with that.
How about this? To make it easy, if an offensive player is not touching a base and he's been touched by a defensive player who is holding the ball, what is your call? Steve, that was you, Steve, right?
Out.
Pretty simple, right? Offensive player's not touching the base and somebody touches the ball to the offensive player, the defense, he's out. Unless what?
He's pushed.
There you go. See how easy it was?
So that's not obstruction then?
Well, you just answered the question. If there's an offensive player who is not engaged to a base and they are touched by the defense with the ball, they are out. Unless an action forced them illegally to be in that position, which in the case of a push would be what? The action of the defense forced the offense off the bag. So now it's an obstruction.
I wouldn't award him another base for that unless, in my judgment, he could have gotten to second base or whatever base he was on. He could have advanced to the next base. I would just say he was safe and go back to the base.
Mark, what's the minimum award for obstruction?
One base.
Yeah. So how can you deny him that reward if he was obstructed?
And I'm going to tell you right now, the pro rule is different. So if you've seen this on TV, it's different. The rule is different. The high school book has that clause about what Jimmy just said, the one base for obstruction. But when you watch on TV, if I'm doing a game and the guy hits him and knocks him off the base, time, stay here. Because he isn't going anywhere. There's a little more flexibility to it. The high school book, though, has a penalty for obstruction.
So if he took his two hands and he really pushed the kid off the base, you could get him for malicious contact then.
Sure.
Yeah, baseball is not a contact sport, so yeah.
Again, I didn't mean to start a firestorm there, but
no,
in the play I saw, it was clear to me that the first baseman could have not done that. He was going that way and he just decided to keep going that way. So to me, there was intent there to take him off of first base. So that's why I awarded. If it was incidental, and like you said, sometimes you see a play where, especially at the younger kids, where they put the tag on him and then they start pushing. And right. I don't know if I'd award then I would just say, hey, stop pushing him. But in the one I saw, the intent in my mind was clear because he did not have to run into the runner. He could have stopped himself, but he just kind of kept going.
All right, so let's move on to the next question. It is determined that a pitcher applied a foreign substance to the ball. Which of the following statements are true? So can you eject the pitcher from the game? No. Warn the pitcher and warn the pitcher and eject the pitcher and the head coach if he does it again. If it's determined that the catcher was the player that actually applied the foreign substance, for example, the St. Louis Cardinals catcher to the ball before returning the ball to the pitcher, and you can eject the catcher. Warn or eject the catcher if the ball is pitched at a ball to the count. The correct answer is warn or eject the pitcher if the ball is pitched at another ball to the count. So that's a judgment thing that they guess they want to give you. I don't know. If I think he applied something to the ball, I'm going to eject him. I don't think I'm going to go with the warning. They give you that option there. You got anything on this to add, Ryan?
Why you got to pick on the Cardinals?
Because your catcher's a cheater.
No, I don't.
Hey, Jim?
Okay, yeah.
Hey, Jim?
Yes.
I read that question and I thought immediately that you have to eject the pitcher. I don't understand where we're given an option.
Let me see.
If I could, Jim, I think the reason that you can warn them, you can apply a foreign substance to the ball unintentionally. I had a pitcher who rubbed his hands in the dirt and picked up the ball with dirt in his hands, and the kid just didn't know what he was doing. I took the ball out of play and warned him.
Right.
Dirt's not a foreign subject. Dirt's not a foreign substance.
No, but if they rub dirt on the ball, they pick it up, rub dirt on the ball, they have to wipe their hands off, correct? Before they touch the rubber.
Or spit.
Well, yeah, but spit's not.
I'm just saying you won't win the argument that dirt is a foreign subject. Substance. Sorry.
Pick your substance. If it isn't intentional, I would warn the pitcher.
Right. And that's good game management. Okay, next question. B5 steps into the batter's box with a bat that is not legal for use. The catcher points it out to the umpire. No pitch has been thrown. So the correct answer is the batter is out. And remove that bat too. I mean, you don't physically remove it, but you tell the coach to remove it.
And if,
So
if it happens again, then you eject that kid and the coach?
I believe that's right, Nan.
I got a question about that.
Yep.
I mean, I know we don't check bats at the beginning of the game like we used to, but what are we looking for on a bat to determine whether it's legal? Like the marking is BB core? Is it still BB core? What is it?
Yeah, the little circle emblem is the one that's legal, which is BB core. The rectangular emblem, or am I backwards? No, I'm backwards. I'm sorry. The BB core is the rectangular one. No. One is rectangular, one is circle. BESR is circle, correct? And BB core is rectangular. So BB core is legal, BESR is illegal. There's also some bats in and of themselves that are illegal. And there is an illegal bat list available, I believe, on the New York State website. So I'm not sure about this without looking it up, but does anybody know the answer to this? Is an all white bat illegal? Or is it legal?
It's got the BB core label on it. It's good.
Yeah, that's why I don't know the answer to it for sure. And the only reason I brought it up because we had it happen in college baseball and a white bat's illegal there. So I don't know if it had followed suit with the Federation rule book or not.
Hey, Jim.
Yeah.
So is a wood bat that is BB core certified but made of bamboo legal? I know they were illegal. I know they were illegal a few years ago. Bamboo was, even though it was BB core, but I was just wondering if that's changed.
I do not know the answer to that. I'm not sure. But there is a list of illegal bats on the New York State website. I'm pretty sure you can go through that and see which ones are illegal. The other question I have, so if the illegal bat was observed after he reached base, and then say the catcher looked down and saw it was an illegal bat, and they appeal it, so what happens then? Anybody?
Batter's out.
And everybody returns to the base. They're where they came from.
Right. What if they had thrown a pitch to the next batter? Can they still appeal it even if no runners have advanced?
No.
No.
Correct. All right, next question.
Sammy's saying to eject the batter.
Pardon me?
I saw Sam's comment. He said to eject the batter too.
That's not the correct answer according to the rule reference. It just says the batter's out. He's not ejected from the game. Unless it's a different, at least as far as now, is he ejected?
An illegal bat is not an altered bat necessarily. An altered bat, you would eject them.
Yeah, I'm just talking about an illegal bat that didn't meet certification for whatever reason. Didn't have the right label on it. Or it's one of the illegal bats that are listed. So is he ejected if he reaches first base and then they appeal it? Is that an ejection? Or is he just simply out?
So what happens if they threw and they got a double play? They got the kid out at second and then they got him out at first. Would the kid at second still be out because it was a legal bat?
But I don't think they're gonna. I don't think they're going to appeal illegal bat, though, Don, if they got a double play out of it, would they? Because the kid's already out.
I just think what Sam was probably talking about was the altered bat versus an illegal bat.
Okay, that could be. I don't know unless he chimes in. I can't read the comments and share my page, so. All right, so let's move on to the next question. At the plate meeting, the home team coach submits a lineup with 9 players. It is not mandatory that a team use a DH, but failure to do so precludes a designated hitter for that team for that game. Is that true or false?
True.
Right. So if he walks away from the plate conference and doesn't have a DH in his lineup, and he decides after he gets to the dugout he wants to add one, are you going to let him add one even though we haven't officially said play?
No.
Correct. All right, next question. The pitcher is late getting to the mound to throw his warm-up pitches. The umpire refuses to let the pitcher warm up, stating that he has used his 1-minute time period. That would be true. So, and this is one of the things we talked about, I think, last Zoom meeting we did. And I mistakenly had give a ball to the batter. That's incorrect. You just stop him short of his warm-up pitches. And this is something you're going to have to game manage because I know these teams are going to be slow at getting out. You're going to be slow at getting ready. So you're going to have to be vigilant. 1 minute is not a lot of time. So they're going to have to, if we want to manage this appropriately, we kind of all have to do it together as an association. So if 1 or 2 guys are the only ones that are managing this 1 minute time period and limiting warm-up throws, trying to manage the game by making it take less time, and they're the only 2 that are doing it, then we're going to kind of defeat the purpose as an organization. We need to all be on the same page with this. So
yeah,
I'm not
doing
saying
that.
What's that?
I'm not a fan of doing that just because, 3 or 4 pitches in and a kid hurts his arm or something like that, then we're going to be put, potentially as liable, even though that's the rules.
You're not at all put liable for it. I mean, not at all. It's within the rules, within the confine of the rules, that he has to throw his warm-up pitches in a minute. So it just depends on whether it's timed. If he's a new pitcher, it's timed from the time he throws his first throw, or if it's a returning pitcher, timed from the 3rd out. So, I mean, it's a game management tool that you really need to use, in my opinion, keep things moving.
I totally agree, Jim, because, when it comes to the battery, sometimes there's a energizer and sometimes there's an ever ready and sometimes there's a never ready. And you have to really encourage these kids and coaches to get out there for the next inning. So I do think it's game management.
You're absolutely right, Dave. And encouragement is a good way to put it too, because I'm telling you, once you do this one time, that kid's probably not going to be late getting out there. And if the catcher was on base, they're going to have somebody else warming them up. So I'm not going to beat this with a dead horse, but I think we have to do this, in my opinion, as an organization to keep things moving. And so we don't do 3-hour and 30-minute games or 3-hour and 10-minute games. There's little things we can do all the way through to keep things moving.
Jim, could you just repeat what we're supposed to do then when they go over the 1 minute time limit?
So you just instruct the catcher, this is your last pitch. You got 1 left. You've got 2 left. This is your last pitch. That's how I would do it.
What if it turns into be 2 or 3 minutes? We're waiting for him.
Well, so I guess the situation I'm saying is the pitcher comes out there to throw his pitches. You're at, let's say, 50 seconds, okay? And he gets out, the catcher's set, and they throw a pitch. And then I look at the catcher and I go, last one. So there won't be 2 or 3 more after I say last one. Or after, when he comes out, originally I might say, I catch you got 2. Does that answer your question, Mark?
Yeah, thank you.
I think right when he comes out, you just tell him, you got, just like Jimmy said, it's going down, catch. Your coach came out and warmed you up. Next one's going down, and keep the game moving. That's what I think.
Now, I want to give you one other situation, and that is, so be mindful of this situation too. And I don't want you to overmanage this 1 minute thing. So pitcher comes out to warm up. They have a backup catcher warming the pitcher up. Okay, he's a returning pitcher. We get 5 throws. So they throw 4 pitches, and then he waits for the starting catcher to come out. This is perfectly legal, perfectly fine. And the catcher comes out and you say, catch, last one. You allow them to throw that one more because they've done their job at that point, and they've been vigilant. They've warmed up the pitcher. And in that situation, let the starting catcher come out, throw the one pitch, and throw it down. Does everybody kind of understand what I mean by that? And be cognizant of that situation? You guys all know what I mean by that? In that situation?
Yeah.
As long as everybody can picture what I'm saying. In that situation, I'm not going to penalize them because they've done their due diligence to be ready. The situations I'm talking about are where they're lollygagging. You're going to see this more obviously at the JV level. And the modified level, you're going to want to do, maybe a little more coaching and less, penalty-wise. Again, game management.
Jimmy, what's the time limit on the mod and JV games this year?
Different in every league.
Each conference is a little different, I believe. So I'd have to look up the rules posted on our website, but so for Monroe County, I don't believe there's any time limit. But again, look at the rules that are posted. Some of them have a runs per inning for modified. They're like maybe 2 hours and 15 minutes, I think. But again, look up Genesee Conference, Livingston Conference on our GVUA website. They'll be listed there.
Livingston County, 5-run rule per inning, 2 hour, 15-minute, no new inning after. Genesee Region, 2 hour, 15-minute, no new inning after. 5-run rule per inning. Monroe County, no limit.
This is varsity?
That was
no, JV.
Modified.
That's what I was thinking. All right.
There is no time limit in Monroe County JV, no time limit in Genesee County JV, Livingston County, no time limit. If after 2 hours and 30 minutes the team is up by 7 or more runs, that will be the last inning to start. There you go. Those are posted under your chapter news.
All right, guys. Next question. What? Go ahead. Somebody have a question?
No.
Okay. Next question. Batter swings and misses at an inside pitch that strikes the batter on the wrist. The correct call is the ball is dead. Add a strike to the batter's count. If it is strike 3, the batter is out. So if he's in the process of swinging and it hits him, it's still a strike. So if he swings at the inside pitch and doesn't strike the pitch and the pitch ends up hitting him in, let's say maybe the waist area or the chest area or something like that, Is that a dead ball or is that still a strike? Or I'm sorry, is that a ball or is that a strike? Or does he get his base?
Well, if he's swinging at it.
Strike.
Swing.
Strike.
Strike.
Correct.
Same rule. If his hands are in the strike zone, he doesn't, or his elbow, he doesn't get it out, and he gets still a dead ball and a strike.
Yes. And that's that one where you're going to want to come up with time and you're going to want to make your decision after you say time as to what you got. And you're going to have to be clear. Okay. Any other questions on the pitch that strikes him when he's swinging? All right. The pitcher steps off the rubber and attempts to pick off R1. F3 does not catch the throw and the ball goes out of play. So he stepped off. Award R1 third base. So if same situation and the pitcher does a spin move and it goes out of play, what's the base award for that?
1.
And the reasoning is
rubber, right?
I'm not sure who said that, but yes, the reasoning is because he's considered to still be on the rubber when he does a spin move.
So if he's off the rubber, then he's a fielder. He's not a pitcher.
Correct. No. Just as if a lefty pitcher throws over, he's still in contact with the rubber if he does his gaining ground step move towards first base. And that's going to be one that coaches aren't going to understand why you just gave the player third base. So you're going to have to be verbal with that, why that happened, and explain him in rulebook terminology. Any other questions on that one? All right, let's go over the videos now. So bear with me a minute. Okay, so my question is, did the video can you guys see the video on screen?
We could see it, but it's not playing.
Well, yeah, I'm not playing it. I'm not playing. I just wanted to make sure it came up right the way I did it.
No, it's just a gray. It's
gray
just
box.
Did you see that or not? Or is it nothing?
No, still gray.
I can hear it, but I can't see it.
Really? Okay. Pointing. Another one, they're probably all going to be this.
No.
Right.
Does it come up on your box? On your screen, Jim?
Yes. Well, I'll
share it. Try sharing it.
I will. Just chill out. Give me a second. I didn't know if it would share the way I had it. So give me a second.
Hi, Ron.
That's
Why am I seeing nothing but Don Rock? I got to stare at that ugly mug.
Wow. Thanks,
so can you see it now or still no?
No, your screen's
No?
not shared right now.
Okay, hold on a second then.
Is that better, man? I'm out of the picture.
Hey, I say that as a fellow ugly mug American, so don't take offense.
Oh, I don't. Kinda.
Just turn around.
We'll just watch it off your glasses, Jim. Just get close enough.
There you go, Jim. Try hit and play now.
What's that?
Yeah, I'm still getting the gray box.
Yeah, I'm not there yet. Hold on a second.
It's not the first time we've heard that.
Still can't get it, huh? All right, let me stop the video that I have up there. Maybe that's my problem. All right. I gotta load it first, I think. Maybe go to screen share. Except I lost it. There it is right there. Try and screen share. Well, let's try this one. That should work. That one do we got?
Yes.
Yes. Perfect.
Okay. All right. So this one is going to be obstruction or interference, okay? So let's watch the video and
baseball. Watch this clip of a youth baseball game. You make the call.
guys, mute yourself, please.
Very quickly before the clip starts. Obstruction. Obstruction is a rule that prevents the fielder from obstructing the runner in his attempt to advance bases. Interference. Interference is any time the runner impedes the fielder's ability to field the ball.
Jimmy, can you pause it?
Yep.
Good. So let's just go right, touch it. Let's just go right there and talk about that at that point. We don't need to play any more video.
That's clear obstruction.
Could it just be a nothing call? Or is it definitely, you guys definitely think it's obstruction? I'm just asking.
Yeah, the first base ran into him. I mean, he was clear of the base runner was clear of first baseman, and the first baseman ran and knocked him over for no reason.
Why did the first baseman knock? What was the first baseman trying to do?
He was trying to field a thrown ball, not a batted ball. So
Right.
I've got obstruction.
Right, because you got the difference there is the batted ball versus thrown ball. And it might be tough to see in the video, but the ball is kind of rolling between the first baseman and the right fielder. But a lot of people, the reason this video is chosen was to do what Mike Shefflin just said, delineate the difference between a thrown ball and a batted ball, right? The fielder is not protected to go get the ball on a thrown ball. They're only protected on a batted ball. That's why you have obstruction. Now the mechanics too, Jimmy, can you let it play just a touch to the point where the guy gets out at second base? And once the umpire makes the, oh, there you go. So you can see the ball there. See the ball rolling across on the right side, but it's irrelevant because it's a throwing ball.
Or neither. And where should the runner be placed, or should he be called out? And share this video with your favorite youth baseball coach, player, or...
So if that was a batted ball, but the kid that was running the second base was past the first baseman, and the first baseman tripped him.
Updated with the correct call.
See?
With the rules listed.
So what do you want to do, Rock?
I'm going to give him safe at second base and still have obstruction.
So, well, no, I have obstruction. And if Jimmy, can you just go back like 2 seconds? Try it again here. Go back maybe to 35.
What do you want to see?
135. Keep one more. Yeah, you got to go. Try 130. Okay.
Play it.
Play and stop as soon as he gets out.
By others, or wait a week or
right there. All right, you can't see it. So the umpire calls him out. on the throw here. At this moment, when that throw occurred and he got tagged, he is out. Then you got to call time, put your hands up, and then call the obstruction and award him second base. If he were to slide in and be safe, we would ignore the obstruction. But you got to verbalize time because he got tagged out, right? The obstruction is delayed. The obstruction doesn't occur until after he's out, or it's ignored after he's safe.
So if in the same situation, if say they didn't get him out at second, you had obstruction at first, they didn't throw him out at second and the ball was overthrown and went to the center fielder, and the runner attempted to go to third,
right?
And he got thrown out at third. Does the out at third stand, or can you just put him back to second?
Out at third stands because he can only you would think he's only going to get second. He went beyond.
So he's only protected. I think what you're trying to say, he's only protected to the base in which the award would have taken place, correct?
There's one other feature to that rule, Jim, and that is that whenever an obstruction runner is tagged out, the ball is dead. So if there was another runner on, say, third base on that obstruction, because he was tagged out, that ball would be dead. So that's something to consider on a play like that.
Yeah, if the play ceases to stop, yes, right. Mm-hmm.
If the obstructed runner is tagged out
at second, you're talking about?
Yes, the ball is dead.
All right.
So if there was another runner, that everything would stop. That's just something to think about.
Right.
So all right. My question is, what if the runner was at third and he was running home and then the obstruction occurred and he got tagged out at second?
Then you place the runner back where he belongs.
Even if he already scored?
If the runner scored, you place the runner where you believe they would have gotten him relative to the obstruction. So if you think he should have scored, he scores. If he's not all the way home yet, you place him back at third.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Any other questions on the obstruction concept?
No, I just wanted to comment about pointing and verbalizing that's obstruction, pointing at the play and verbalizing that's obstruction.
Yeah, I mean, don't be too, Jimmy, start loading the next video. You don't have to be too loud on the verbalization of it. There's, it really should only be loud enough for the person who's around the play, like the defensive fielder, the offensive player. I don't need to scream obstruction so that the left fielder can hear it. I don't need to scream it so the bench can hear it, right? I am going to stick my finger out, point to it. That's obstruction at a decent voice, but I don't have to scream it so everybody in the room hears it. Now, if I'm calling time after the play and I want to demonstrate what I called, then I need to go to a higher volume. Any additional questions before we start the next video? Okay, next video, Jimmy.
Okay, here we go. This one is jumping over the catcher.
Get down!
I'm going to rewind this and play it a couple more times because it happened so quick.
Get down! Get down!
Can you stop it? The next one here, can you stop it at the point where the catcher's on the ground and the jump occurs?
Yep, I'm going to try.
Get down!
Okay, excellent. That's a great place to stop. So this question, number one, before we talk about it, where everybody, the camera angle is going to allow for a wide variety of answers, and that's okay. The purpose of the question is to prompt you on a couple topics. So as I say that is, I do not want to have a debate about the information I'm going to tell you what we're calling, whether that's what happened or not because of the camera angle. If you're going to have a question, I want you to have a question about the rule, not the video. So I want to make that clear because I don't want to waste time telling me what you thought based on the camera angle. So in this scenario, there's multiple things that are occurring. The answer to the question on the test was, and wait till I go through all of it before we talk. The answer to the question on the test was obstruction. Now, if you can see, and I'm going to tell you why that was part of it. And again, you may vary and you may have a different answer. And believe it or not, that would probably be somewhat okay based on the camera angle. But as you can see in the current video right now, the catcher has just caught the ball, and obviously the runner is not in contact with the catcher. Now, there is a line on the field, and when we picked this video, we were trying to use the line. And the catcher's foot, prior to him catching the ball, is just over the line, in my opinion. Now, if it's not, it's tough to see from that angle. Because of that, that is altering the base path of the runner. So if you called obstruction because the catcher's foot was on the out of place side of the in foul territory, you would be correct. Now let's go the other route. Let's say the catcher was not in foul territory, but both feet were in a legal position, which I know many of you answered this way. In this part of the video, I want you to answer to yourself, and I'll give you 5 seconds when I'm done before I answer it is, what you see right now, can the offensive player leap, hop, jump over the catcher in the position he's in right now? And take a few seconds to yourself.
No.
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 Okay. Now, we did have a lot of answers on the test where people said it was legal, and forget the obstruction part. That's what I wanted to get to was the reason it's not legal is because the catcher's positioning is currently with 2 feet on the ground, no other body parts. And it is clear as day at this video piece that the offensive player is beginning to do a jump, leap over the catcher, correct? Which makes his action illegal. The only way it could have been legal is if the catcher was down on the ground, laying on the ground, trying to tag, then he could have done that. So again, I'm going to open it up to questions, but I don't want to get into a debate over what you saw. I want you to debate or question the rule as we're talking about it, not what you would have called.
I have a question.
Go on. Who's talking?
Hey, Jim.
Jim. Oh, Jim.
My question is, could you have obstruction and could you have obstruction and also call the runner out for hurdling over the catcher?
Thoughts?
That would be.
I would think no, because you said once there's obstruction, the play's automatically dead unless it was by the catcher.
Well, obstruction's a delayed dead ball.
Yeah,
But
the
I don't know
ball's going to still be
I don't know how you could award a player a base after you've called them out.
Yeah, I'm taking one. I'm going with it.
Jimmy, why don't you tell us what you got?
So I've got obstruction on the fielder, but my runner chose his path to avoid the obstruction as jumping over the fielder that was not laying on the ground. I have the runner out because he did an illegal action according to the rule book. Even though he would have been rewarded, he would have been awarded home, he chose an illegal act, which is jumping over the catcher. I've got an out.
Agreed.
That's my judgment on it. I'm not saying it's got to be your judgment on it necessarily, but that's what I would have per the rule.
Don't you have to go by what happened first, which would be the obstruction?
Okay, but didn't both actions happen? We just already determined that obstruction is a delayed dead ball. So that means we're not killing anything. We're not killing the play. So the play continues on. As the play continues on, a runner performs an illegal act.
Yeah, but Jim, if he didn't jump, he's going to run right into that guy. If that guy's obstruction, he's in the way. He's going to run right into that guy.
What are the runners, Andy? What are the runners' responsibility? Slide or avoid contact, correct? I just gave the answer.
But he's not close enough to slide. He can't slide from there.
Okay. So hold on, stop. Listen. What's his other option then if he can't slide?
Avoid contact, and then he'd be running around the guy. He'd be out of baseline. No.
But what would you have then? And you would be able to enforce the obstruction.
Right.
If he ran around him.
Oh, I see what you're saying. To avoid the guy, and then he's got obstruction. Okay.
Now I've got obstruction.
All right, I understand now. Yep, you make a good point then.
Nice job, Jim.
Thank you. He's out.
I do what I can.
Nice job. First good point of the day.
Oh my God, you need to stop. All right, let's go to the next video, guys, because there's 3 more. There is another portion of this video, but we won't even bother with it. We got our point across. Ryan, you can talk about something while I'm screen sharing the next one if you want.
All right, so I'm going to talk about some scheduling while Jimmy's sharing the next screen, so we can move this along. I've just received the high school schedules, begun the process. So for those who've been around a while, the process will be very different than you've seen before. I'm going to end up sending you a copy of I'm probably going to send out the first week and the next day or two. And the schedule will have both high school games and youth games in it. And then probably the second week, just to get you caught up. And then the remainder of the schedule will come out probably in another week or so. So when you start to get a message from Arbiter, you need to make sure that you accept your games, or if you see an issue, to decline them. I'm going to tell you right now, all JV games are one man. That's how short we are for officials. So as a result of that, if we do get to a point, and I will send out some messages as I've had in the past 3 days, 2 varsity programs cancel. I've had 3 JV programs cancel. So the schedule, while I've done a chunk of it, now has already been changed because teams are dropping their seasons. When they send out a message at some point, it may say, if you are open on a day and you want to work a game, I will add, especially the newer guys, I'll add you into a JV game and we can get a 2-man for some people. But originally now all the assignments are going to be 1-man because we're going to be short. So if you have availability and you don't have a game, pretty much if you're open, especially anybody returning guys, you're going to end up having the game every day. So next one.
Just curious, Ryan, what are the varsity programs that have decided not to play?
That was, let's see, yesterday, Wheatland Chili folded. Today, Kendall folded. Somebody else in Livingston County folded. Mount Morris, maybe?
Mount Morris is with Geneseo.
Maybe they folded JV then.
Geneseo folded their JV and is doing 2 modifieds.
So there's a lot of changes, but we'll do what we can.
All right, guys, next video.
Key elements of the play: nobody out, base is empty. Batter hits a line drive to left field. The batter runner rounds first and is headed for second when he collides with the first base umpire. Both fall to the ground as the first baseman fields the ball and tags out the runner. Get out of the way, Blue. That's got
Just pause it there, Jimmy.
It's your call.
All right. So who's going to award the runner second base on the umpire interference?
I mean, the umpire clearly hit him, right? There's no doubt about that.
And obviously the umpire was late getting out to his position if he ran into a kid rounding first base. So is there anybody that would award the runner second base? Is there anybody that would keep the runner at first base? Is there anybody that would call the runner out?
I would.
Because it's a rule.
That's like two people.
No interference. There's no interference on the umpire.
I think the proper mechanic here is wait till the play is done, raise your arms, call time, and eject your fellow umpire.
The best answer of the day.
That'll be me. I'm out of there.
Now, somebody did say there's no interference on an umpire. In this particular play, there's no interference on an umpire. But there are two instances where umpire interference comes into play. So I'd like to have, does anybody would like to provide one of the two instances where an actual call is umpire interference?
Interference with a thrown ball from the catcher.
Good. So if the catcher's trying to throw a ball and makes contact with the umpire, it's a delayed dead ball. So if he gets the guy out, he's out. If they don't get the guy out, then return everybody back to where they were. What's the second instance of umpire interference?
Lodge ball.
Hit ball.
Yep. Hit/lodge ball. Right. So if a pitched ball or a batted ball hits the umpire, lodges in the umpire, or hits the umpire in front of a fielder, then it would be umpire interference, and the batter will get one base. If it hits the umpire past the fielder, it's a live ball. But this play, as I have seen in the past 3 years, I have seen this play over a dozen times in the Genesee Valley.
Wow.
And I did say over a dozen times because of people not reading the play and not making the right mechanics runs, running late. You've got to get inside on a hit ball. And if you can't, you better stay on the outside so you don't get in the way, because you are going to take a lot of heat, and this is really unacceptable. There's 90 feet. You should be approximately, it's an average, it comes out to most times you're about 10 feet from first base. The runner is 90 feet away. That means that you've got 9 times the distance to make up less than they do to be able to get to the same distance, right? So even if the ball, once it gets to the shortstop or the third baseman, if they field it, then you're going to stay in a position to call the out at first. If it goes through them, there's no runner in the world who's going to be past the 50% mark. So you should be able to get inside. But you got to be conscious of where you're running. We can't have those scenarios.
That fielder was clearly tagging the umpire out.
He was. All right. Do we have the next video, Jimmy?
Yeah, just one more comment about being late on that interior run. Maybe you're too deep on the baseline if you can't beat that runner, because sometimes it's easy to get way deep, but then you got to make a long run to get to the interior part of the ball field. Food for thought.
14 runner.
You should be questions about being deep. I don't want to get into a thing about this, but you're in A, you should be playing a step or two off the first baseman's hip. All right. If he goes up, you go up. If he goes back, you go back. And the reason for that is we want to be able to see that screaming line drive that he catches 3 inches off the dirt. Okay. But if you think you have physical limitations that aren't going to allow you to play that far back, then you need to adjust that to your ability. All right, guys, next play, runner passing another runner.
Passing. With only one out, the runner from first is holding on the fly ball to right. The ball is dropped. What's the call? A, the original runner from first is out.
Go back to the pass. Yep.
With only one out, the runner from first is holding on the fly ball to right.
There we go.
All right. So what's the answer to this one? Runner passed another runner. Do you have an out? Do you not have an out? Can they correct themselves? Somebody give me an answer.
The following runners out.
Batter runners out.
So the runner that passed the other runner is what you're saying is out?
Yep.
Anybody else think that the other runner's out? That's correct answer.
Can the runner return to first on that?
Yeah.
At that point, Jim, once the batter runner passes this runner, he's no longer forced to second, correct?
Correct.
Correct. Anything else you want to add to this one, Ryan?
Nope. You have the ability. When does a runner technically pass a runner? The entire body has got to be past the other body. So if part of the body is still there, I mean, that's your judgment. But just so you're thinking, it's got to be the entire body.
What do you have that's beeping? Something is beeping on your end.
It's Wayne.
Somebody have an alarm going off or something? Oh, it's really bad. All right, let me see.
Ryan doesn't have a seatbelt on.
True.
Maybe it's a heart monitor. They're almost dead.
Sounds like it, actually. All right, that didn't work. I got to try to get this video. Everybody mute themselves for a minute. Thank
Somebody
you.
just did it. But they won't admit it. Probably Rock. Stay muted though. So.
No.
Runner passing.
Anybody got, let's do that. Anybody have questions on, not new guys, you're going to stay 10 minutes after, we'll go over arbiter for you. Questions on returning guys, questions, the assignment process, questions or anything. Like I said, it'll come out probably in a day or two, the first week. This is all going to be totally different than you've ever seen before process wise. So.
I think I got it. I think this is the right one.
Key elements of the play, there's nobody out. The batter hits a ball down the first baseline. The first baseman is in the act of fielding the ball as he collides with the batter runner in the runner's lane. Hey, you've got to protect my batter here. What's the call? A, he's out. B.
So don't listen to the guy talking.
Yeah.
Just umpire the play.
The elements of the play, there's nobody out. The batter hits a ball down the first baseline. First baseman is in the act of fielding the ball as he collides with the batter runner in the runner's lane.
All right, what do you got?
That's a tag out.
Yeah.
He fielded the ball and ran into the guy with the ball in his glove. That's a tag out.
Okay. Seems pretty simple to me. Ryan, anything else you want to add to that one?
Just prompting you to understand the running lane rule. So the runner has to stay in the lane. They could not go outside of it to avoid it here. If they're inside it, then they're susceptible to the running lane rule.
It was a slow runner too. That umpire could have passed him up and beat him at first base.
I wonder where they got these actors from.
Sometimes the video is just, we threw in a video just to show every situation is not something. If he puts his hands on the fielder, then you could have an action by the offensive player as well. Is there one more video, Jim, or is that it?
That's it.
That's it. Jim, do you have anything else for the returning guys?
I do not. That's all I have.
Is there any general questions from returning umpires?
I do have one question about something that you talked about earlier. Pitcher on the rubber, doing the stretch with the runner on first and pauses before he goes home. Can he still go to the base, or is that a balk?
That's a good, I know what he means. That's a good question.
He like hangs the leg and goes to first.
Oh,
He could,
so
he could,
the rule
ahead,
is the rule is continuous motion. So if you think that his leg paused and stopped, then you make the call. That's your judgment.
But if he does go to first base with that, it's not a balk. Again, it could be judgment, but if he pauses and then goes to first base, it's not a balk. I mean, I had it happen.
So isn't he deceiving the runner?
I mean, I had it happen in a college game and it wasn't a balk. So I'm not 100% positive. I mean, I don't think it's, I mean, it's a good question. I don't know, Ryan, what do you think?
It's a balk.
It's a balk? Okay. Keep it simple.
Thank you.
Hey, Ryan, Mike Shefflin here. Are we going to be paid through
Mike,
arbiter?
you're the
beeper.
Guy.
Uh-oh, sorry about that. Are we being paid by arbiter or by you this year?
High school games you fill out a voucher. Summer games, you'll get a check monthly. Good question.
So it is my mic that's doing all the beeping?
It is.
Yep.
There is.
So no arbiter pay? No arbiter pay then this year?
Correct.
Oh.
I think that's a $10 fine on Shefflin, right?
Yes, it is.
Maybe he's got his truck in the yard going backwards.
Anybody else? General questions for the good?
Yeah, I do. Does the home team, if you're doing a high school game, does the home team give you the voucher to fill out?
Great question. Yes, they do.
Okay.
Home team will give you the voucher every game. And make sure you fill it out before you start the game and give it back to the home team.
Okay.
And if you're doing the game by yourself, you never touch the baseballs, right?
Correct.
And you want him to make a home run?
What was that?
What was that?
All right. Returning guys, if no additional questions, you can log off. New guys, if you would stay on, we're going to go through a very quick arbiter tutorial for you.
Ryan, is my screen shared?
Yep. You're right where I want you. Stay there.
I don't like that.
Thanks, guys.
So a couple
Thanks,
about a minute for the veterans to log off.
So as they're logging off, is there any, let me see if I can pull them. Is there anybody who's a new guy who your first time with arbiter has not got the invite or logged in?
Ryan, I'll see. I'm taking off. I should be all set.
You're all set. Yep, you're all set.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, so everybody's in. I'm going to... I got to exit full screen because I want to go to my arbiter, not to show it, but to see if everybody's in where they're supposed to be in. People. So what I'm looking at on my end, guys, for arbiter, Any not ready officials? Dave Grice, are you on today?
Yeah, if you can hear me.
Okay, I can. All right, so I'm going to use Dave as an example. This is good.
Oh boy.
So Jimmy, no, you're good. You're good. I did this for some of you, but I want to explain to you how it works. So let's go. I'm going to go. So Jimmy's page is up here. This page here, when you open up, you're going to see all this information on here. We're going to start. This is the home page. Typically, a lot of times your schedule will come up automatically, but this is the home page. Now, this is where we would put announcements. I send stuff out. I don't put a lot of announcements on this page. You can see here that there's just one announcement, but it's 2 years old, but it's an active announcement that when it comes to, we'll get to that point later on about how to understand how much you're getting paid. But so Dave, if you're on your Arbiter by chance, you can do this. You can see Jimmy's name here right next to the baseball logo. And to the right of it, and again, I don't like this, it's real small. So everybody see where it says ready to be assigned?
I'm not checked.
Yeah, many of you did not check that. Now, I have the power to go in and check that for you. But the reason you would not check that is you haven't updated your calendar. And typically, you would check this on a normal season around March 1st. And then you would probably turn it off at the end of the season when you're done. Let's say that depending on when you're done, it could be August, September. And then that's the reminder that, hey, you got to turn that back on for the next year. It's not something you turn on and off, but when you're a new guy, you got to turn it on. What that does is that puts you in my system so I can assign you games. So if you get something, I say you're not ready to be assigned, that's the button. So Dave is the only one who hasn't done that right now. The other part I want to go to is if Jimmy, if you can hit your profile. Some of you have not put in your address information. And as you can go down here, you can see with Jimmy's name, he's got his first name, last name, good. He's got his email address, phone numbers that are in there. If you scroll down just a touch right there, you see his address. You don't need your social security number because that's Jimmy. That's for us for college. We don't pay online, so you don't have to worry about that part. It's just have your address in there because right now some of you signed in, but your name doesn't pop up because Arbiter reads by mileage. So when it comes time to do games, it gives me a list that I sort by who lives the closest to the game. Doesn't mean you're getting the game. It's just an easier way to assign. I don't want to give Jim a game. He lives in Dansville. I don't want to give him a game in Lindenville, right? Because it's probably going to be 100 miles one way. But we want to avoid that. But if you don't put in your address and then press save, you won't come up on my list for games. Does anybody have a question on that or has not seen that process? All right, so that's the first thing I'd like you to make sure you check today is that you have your profile updated. All right, Jimmy, go back to our homepage. We'll use that as our guideline. If by chance you forget your password when you're logging in, there'll be something below your login that says, hey, I forgot my password, and they'll send you a backup, and you'll probably have to reset your password. All right, so the next important thing for you is let's click on the word list. Under list, there is going to be a subtopic that comes in. You're going to see officials, contacts, forms. The officials portion is our directory. All right. So if you were to click on, I don't click on mine, assigner, Jimmy.
Where?
You were just on it. There. Yeah. All right. So my information is going to come up. So your picture, so you know who you're working with, because that can be helpful, especially with your new, your address, your phone number, your email. That's it. That's all that's going to come up. That's all the away teams can see. That's what your partner can see. So that
means you gotta upload a picture, guys.
It doesn't have to be an umpire picture.
No.
But it has to be a professional picture-ish, right? I don't want you with a margarita or, some kind of Hawaiian shirt on. Just headshot, Nice and simple. So people who are looking for you, especially the schools, they have a supervisor who usually clicks on this stuff and is looking for you in the parking lot to make sure they know who's who. Okay, let's click out of that. So
Is there a way? Because this is Andy. I tried to upload a picture, and every time the picture came up sideways, and it wouldn't let me like turn the picture the right way. So I tried to take the picture sideways, and it still showed up sideways anyway. So is there a way to like edit the picture, or
there is a help button on your arbiter screen? Usually a tab on the right-hand side when you're on your own. If you click that, it will set up like it'll give you a phone number because they've had some problems with some people's computers, and we can't do that, but you may just have to make a phone call to arbiter. And
Andy, I had that happen with my picture for about 2 or 3 years. And I have no idea how it was crooked, just like you. And finally, one day I was in there messing with it, and I got it to go the right way. I don't know what I did.
So you were okay with having it sideways, is what you're saying? It's okay to have it sideways.
Sideways for a couple years, and when we were just using this for college baseball. So
I would suggest, if you have that, just click on the help, and they will do it for you with arbiter. It's something on there.
So at least put one up sideways for now, and then get it changed after.
Yep, that's fine.
Got you. Okay.
Okay. On the rest of the list, I want you to click on, the only other thing you're really going to need is forms. And I'm not going to click on them after this, but you see here, these are the directions I'm going to be talking about. I'm not going to walk you through. I'm sure you know how to read. So when I talk about blocks, there's a direction sheet here, and it's a cool direction sheet. It's got pictures, step-by-step, makes it very easy. So these 3 or 4 topics are things I think you should click on when we're done with the conversation. Make sure you've updated the things, and it is a step-by-step in direction. The last form on there is a Section 5 disqualification form. That means if a player or a coach gets ejected, you have to fill one of those out and follow the directions on the form. But once I start talking about blocks and travel limits and how to see your pay, these are the step-by-step directions. They're all about 1 page, very, very simple. So let's go with blocks now, because this is the part that's going to update your schedule so you can get games. So as you can see, this is Jimmy's schedule. Now, the uniqueness of this is you're not going to see some of this yet for a reason, okay? So what you're not going to see is the fact that there's colors on here. White means that you are open. Hard red means you are blocked out all day. Blue means you have a game. Light red means that he's blocked out a part of the day. So I think, Jimmy, if you click on the 15th and scroll down, you should be able to show them what time you blocked out. Scroll down a touch. So here it says he's blocked out from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. The system will read that you can't leave your house to 2 o'clock, and as a result, it will calculate the mileage. So if you were going somewhere that's 100 miles away at a 3 o'clock start, it would not give you a game. It would say that you're blocked. So what I need you to do at this point, and Jim's going to demonstrate this now, we're going to go to Monday, April 5th. Okay, so don't click on it yet. So his sample, you see where April 5th is. He's going to go to the far left under the word action, and he's going to click the block all day. And you see how the dots shows up there. Now he's going to go back onto April 5th and just click on it, and it turns red. Now he's going to go to the 6th. He doesn't have to go back because he's already set for block all day. He's going to block the 6th, and it turns red. Now, if he wanted to do something special for the 7th, he's going to go back to block part day over on the left-hand side. And then he's going to go to the 7th and put the time in, what time he wants to do it. So we'll keep it, make it 8 to 4 or something, whatever, 8 to 3:30. Now he's going to go to the 7th and click on the 7th. And you can see that it came up a light red. Now, just in this calendar format, what I need you to do is for the month of May and June, I need you to go through and put the reds on your dates. If you cannot work, if you cannot work high school, which pretty much all you quote new guys, I'm almost exclusively just going to start you in Little League this year because of the nature of it. So if you can't work on a day, that basically means you can't work at 6 o'clock. But if you do have something unique where you would be available, you work till 3 or 4 o'clock, you can put the times in and it will show up appropriate for me. If your schedule is completely blank and you want games, put it in there. If you got to go to your grandma's 38th, wedding anniversary, you got to block it out. I have approximately 3,000 games in my queue between assigning high school and college. I'll be honest with you. I don't have time to hear stories about your blocks or find out. I'm literally using the computer and trying to use this information to assign games. So if you are not accurate and it forces me to change the schedule, I will not be happy. If I'm not happy and your name keeps being the reason why I'm not happy, you won't get games because I'll just skip over your name because you're a pain in the ass. I'm just going to be black and white with you.
Do you need to save after he does the whole blocking days? Is there a save button, or once you do that and you click to a different page, it saves?
No, once click on the month of May, Jimmy, just to show him. So he's going to click to the next month, and we see the 5, 6, 7 there is in red. So Jimmy's got some games in May. He's got the 19th blocked up. Let's go back to April, and let's see if it's still there. Go back to the month of April.
Yeah, it'll still be there.
And now even with like a page change, even if he goes to clicks over to payments and goes back to blocks. Okay, all right. Just make sure.
Yep, it's automatic. Once you click on it, it's automatic on this page.
As soon as that color comes up, you're set. Now, if you make a mistake and I don't want to block the 7. I made a mistake. I want to unblock it.